Okay, so this video was really hard to make, but also made harder by the fact that I just recorded the whole video and realized that I had not recorded my audio. Forgot to turn it on. Oh my god, I didn't record any of it. So not only did I force myself to do it, but now I'm forcing myself to do it again. This video is basically my introduction, as well as about a topic that is very relevant to me sitting here doing this at all, and that's self-doubt, and I guess feeling like an imposter. I have a few tips for people that might be feeling that way. I don't have anything groundbreaking, but I do think the things that I talk about actually work for me, which I think is probably the more important part to this. So hopefully it helps a little bit, and I'll try and be as transparent and honest about how I feel and how hard it was to do this to start with. My name's Steve, and I am trying to feel comfortable getting to a point where I can create videos for people and hopefully create a bit of a connection. For me, the most important thing is actually having at least just one person feel like, oh yeah, I feel like that sometimes too. So just a background to this topic, my own personal experience about self-doubt and kind of feeling a bit of shame and not being very comfortable in my own skin probably started when I was a kid. I grew up in a small town here in Victoria in Australia, and was kind of surrounded by very not all toxic masculinity, but you know, it was quite a long time ago now, and a lot of the people that I spent time with, you know, were quite different to me. I was a young gay guy feeling very different to everyone else, and yeah, didn't have the best time. So I think a lot of that time I was trying to remain unseen. And so now it's really difficult to put myself in situations where I am in front of people or being seen, I guess is what I'd call it. And along with that comes, you know, self-doubt and just feeling like I'm not good enough and all those silly things. But they're important things too. Logically, they're silly, but I know that it doesn't really help sometimes understanding what the problem is. Sometimes you've got to feel it. In saying that though, I find that intellectualizing sometimes can help in this situation, and that's one of the tips I'm going to talk about. I guess in the past there's been times where I've had to put myself out there and speak in front of people, which I'll talk a little bit about later, and understanding and knowing that people have said positive things about it usually helps me, because even though I can't always emotionally connect to that feeling of being good at what I'm doing, if enough people are saying that you did a pretty good job, I always think, well, how much effort do they have to put in to say something positive versus just not say anything at all? There's so many people that could just say nothing. But for me, when I want to give someone a compliment, it's because I really want to and I'm putting in the effort. When I frame it that way, I'm able to think, okay, well, even if I'm not feeling great, probably it's not as bad as I think. And everyone's always thinking way more about themselves than anyone else. One of the small tricks that I did with this video in particular is actually turn the phone around the other way so I can't see myself, which actually helps a lot, because I was looking at myself and criticizing myself and just being way too caught up in that. So obviously this video isn't just about making videos, it's about doing things that you're uncomfortable doing or you have doubt about. But you know, that's just a tip for something like specifically about doing videos. Another tip, it's really boring, I'm sorry, but practice does help. So while I was thinking about this video, as soon as the thoughts came to mind, I wrote them down in an app that I have with a lot of my ideas. And then when I got home, I sat down straight away and I kind of wrote out the main dot points from that. So even though this was a few days ago, because I did try and fail to film something that day, full transparency, Today it's been a little bit easier because I've just kind of read over the notes again and it's refreshed me and the kind of things that I wanted to talk about. I'm still referring to my notes down there. I'm not a magician. So yeah, I think whether it's making a video or if it's speaking in public, I've done that in the past as well. I find for me anyway, writing things down helps me memorize and cement it. Perhaps you're a visual learner. Maybe creating something like a storyboard will help you. But as I mentioned before, this could be for anyone feeling self-doubt in a number of ways. Maybe you're a physical performer, dancer, actor. I'm sure there's different ways that you can practice, and obviously a lot of people have to do that just because it's part of their job, with their memorizing lines or memorizing choreography. But yeah, it's a simple one, but it does work. I'm not sure if that'll help you, but as I mentioned before, public speaking is something that terrifies a lot of people, and this is not as bad because I'm not physically in front of as many people, but it's kind of similar. I do think facing your fears is kind of like a muscle though. For example, 10 years ago, I used to work at an arts organization, running an arts organization here in Melbourne, and the job involved actually doing a lot of events, ceremonies, that kind of stuff, where I had to get up and stand in front of people and talk. And I was so scared to do that to start with. As I mentioned before, I would write down my scripts and I would have them in front of me, which did help. But over the couple of years that I was in that role, it did become easier, once again, because I was kind of focusing on the positive feedback that people were giving me rather than how I felt internally. But it's crazy for me to think about that now because it's a muscle that I haven't flexed in such a long time. For me, even speaking up in a meeting with my colleagues at work with just a few people in a room, sometimes I'm too shy to do that. And so it is something that with practice gets easier. Once again, not groundbreaking, but if you just think forward and think, okay, this is going to be hard the first few times, but it will eventually get easier. Another thing that I have a real connection to is music. Now, this might not be the same for everyone, but ever since I was young, it was always a place that I could kind of get lost in. I've done radio shows in the past, not live, because as I mentioned, I'm not great at that. I would pre-record them and kind of add the music, write my notes, read them, that kind of stuff. But for me, when I was thinking about this video, what I found worked the best was I was going for a walk, I had my headphones on, and there was a few songs that just give you that kind of feeling of emotional armor, like, oh yeah, I can do this. And whether that's metal, rap, electronic, it could be anything for you. It could be a bunch of things. I like different types of music, and there's songs in different genres that give me that feeling. But I think that it really makes a difference. I felt really pumped up by the end of it. A lot of people, say exercise helps as well. And I was just going for a walk, and even that was good enough for me to get the ideas flowing and to get me into that frame of mind. But actually what I thought might be interesting is I'll create a playlist of some of the songs that I like that give me that emotional armor feeling, and maybe I'll make it editable by others. So I'll pop a link down below in the description, and feel free to go in and listen to other people's music or add your own. Could be fun. It'll be interesting to see what's in there. I mean, most likely 99% of the stuff you probably hate, but you might, if it even just helps you find one song that makes you feel great, then I think that's a win. So yeah, coming to the end of the video now. It's not a huge one. I just wanted to create something for myself to start, and also hopefully help a few people out there who are thinking about this kind of thing. The fact that this video exists alone should be enough to show you that you can do it, because I have stopped myself from doing this several times. And it's a public holiday here today in Australia, and I thought this is the last chance that I'm going to have to do it, because I know what I'm like and I move from things very quickly, and I really wanted to make this work. I want to give it a go. And if I just left it today, there was a good chance that I wouldn't come back to it. So tell me about the things that you're scared to do. Comment below. Maybe talk about a time that you've overcome it, because that I find is really inspiring to other people. For me, at the moment, I'm in a community of video makers, and that is helping me get motivation to do this. So whether maybe it's finding a community, even just being on YouTube and, you know, finding people that have similar interests to you, hopefully, yeah, that helps. But yeah, interested to hear what you think and what those issues are that you're facing, and if there's anything else you'd be interested in hearing about. But thanks for watching if you watched this far. I appreciate it.